The first thing is actually opening VS Code here before I do anything else. I have a standard VS Code project here, and this is just an empty project that I just added. You'll see a couple of things here. I have the global actions folder. I also have this thing called components, which I'll talk to you a little bit about. I'm actually going to show you quite a bit of that. I have scripts, which is already in my build, so I can have the ability to build JavaScript functions and export those, so that will be available for everybody as well. We've also made our translations much more flexible and generic. And then, of course, as I mentioned, one of the things that we worked on is making it easier and assisting people to build solutions. So I'm going to jump right in deep here on this. Of course, we want to building Jigx solutions. You can go in different levels if you want to. I'm going in at the bottom here. And one of the things we know takes quite a lot of time for people is actually writing SQL. SQL is a structured query language and the ability to join and visualize the data and what you want to do. So like I said, I'm adding a low level, and this is for the technical people. There's a lot of people on this audience. I noticed Henny Loubser from Takala is on here. That's a team with incredible Jigx resources. It's such an important team for us, especially in a market like Australia, where they've really taken the lead and they've built up such amazing skills. And we got so much feedback from Amanda on that team, Henny's team at Takala, and inspired us to do a lot of this work and make it easier. So what I want to do here is that rather than write a query, and let's say I'm going to work with Salesforce here, I actually can use this new thing called Jigx Copilot. And Jigx Copilot will pop up on the right-hand side, and it's been trained, and we keep on training this to do a whole bunch of things for us. I'm going to give you one example this morning. I'm going to say, write a select for the most common data fields in a Salesforce account entity. All right, so I'm not really going to be overly concerned with typing. So we're still working on the UI, of course, all the busy indicators and streaming and all that stuff. That's not really what we're focusing on. At this point, it really is, does the LLM understand what it is that Jigx needs? Now, we use JSON documents, for those of you familiar with Jigx. So JSON extracts, being able to use that, you can immediately see it brought back the information that's most commonly used. That, of course, is training information outside of this, looking at Salesforce solutions itself, and then becomes really easy for me just to take this and embed it in my solution. I don't have to write all of this. Of course, there's other examples as well. You know, I can ask for write a select statement for a calendar entry using Microsoft, let's say Microsoft Graph as an example. If I get calendar calls, Microsoft Graph REST call. And at the same time, it will go back and actually fetch this data for me. And I'm going to show you one more example, because this is, of course, systems that's outside. So there's the some of the common fields, and you can also see it actually managed to flatten out more complex data structures within this, and I can immediately use this. It saves us a tremendous amount of time. Now, where I have existing data, so I'm just going to go into one of my Jigx tables here, and I'm going to take something that I think has got some data in it. I'm just opening this table, and let's say I'm just really looking for a JSON document, so that's why I'm in here. I'm going to take that JSON there. I mean, of course, it can come from anywhere, any REST call that I make. And I can just take that and say, write a select for, and just paste the raw JSON in there and give that to Jigx. And what it will do is this will actually understand the JSON document. Now, this is really nice, because when we make some of the REST calls, or even some of the SQL calls that comes back, the amount of data that we get and fields can be quite big, and to write all the select statements for that can be quite tedious. And so you can give it your own data, and it will immediately write and create this for you. And this is, I would say, 99.9% correct. Grant has done such a great job with this in the back end, making sure that as I mentioned, that the responses that we get is responses you can rely on. I use ChatGPT, and too often do I ask it to write a piece of code for me, and it doesn't work, and I have to go back and say it doesn't work. We did not want that experience in Jigx. We want you, when you get a response back from us, we want it to work. So it's one example of how we're going to bring this into Jigx.